Welcome to Cultivating Conversations. It's your host here, Farmer Jazz, here with a good friend of mine, young aspiring guy, Alex Renzi. Oh, good morning, Alex. How you doing?
Morning, Jared. I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while. Me
Likewise.
and Alex worked at Crop One as project managers. He is one of my junior project managers that I was always excited to work with. Very inspiring to see like your growth and seeing all the things that you're doing.
Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah, let's get into it. A lot of people don't know about you, Alex. Can you explain what you do and who you are?
Yeah, definitely. Just to kind of pick off where you left it, Jared and I used to work together back at Crop One. That was my first full-time job out of college. Went to school for construction and business management, had a good opportunity as a project manager in an industry I really had no background in terms of vertical farming, but nonetheless, it was building, and that was my passion. So Jared and I got to work together for a few years. That sort of ran its course, and I sort of had more desires, wanted to work for myself. So a few years back, my brother, father, and I started a home buying business out here in Rhode Island. We operate across New England and occasionally in some other states. But essentially, what we're doing is buying and selling properties, acquiring rentals, um, and really, honestly, we get a bad rep from a lot of people in terms of being a real estate investor, but I can tell you truthfully that we help a lot of people out of some pretty sad situations. So we're trying to change the sort of the
Stigma.
yeah, just trying to change that dynamic of that stigma around investors, and yeah, ever since 2021 it's been now, right around COVID. Yeah, we've just been buying and selling houses, so it's been good. It's been great, and yeah, happy to sort of get into it with you here.
Yeah, it's kind of fire to see you getting into real estate. You were in real estate before. I remember when we interviewed you. That was something that you were talking about that you were doing prior. Honestly,
Yeah,
to me, I was like, why the hell you want to come work here? Like you already got like a business to yourself. Um,
yep.
what was kind of the mindset behind that to go from being a business owner to being a worker?
I think it's kind of one of those things that I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but my brother and father have been in real estate since 2010, and I've always had opportunities with them growing up, and especially out of college. But when I graduated, I sort of felt like I had that calling to at least just go do my own thing for a few years, figure myself out, learn some more, really just kind of educate myself so I could really bring some value if I ever did decide to work with them. Which is exactly what I did. I don't regret anything at all. I mean, my experience at Crop One was great for the most part. Um, Learned a lot, and you know, my time at Crop One also allowed me to get my construction supervisor license here in Massachusetts. So it all worked out the way it needed to. So yeah, I mean, for me, it was just more of I needed to prove to myself that I could do my own thing if I wanted to, and ultimately, obviously, I decided to come work with them. But yeah, no regrets at all. I mean, it was all part of my journey and my plan. So
Wow, it's kind of strange. We kind of both had a similar situation. For me, I come from a pipe fitting background with my family. A
yep,
lot of them are in the union, and I was the one that chose to go to college. Most of them
yeah,
out there on all the construction sites, working on the big dig, any of the buildings that you see being put up in Boston. I'm sure they've all had a hand in it, whether it's been my granddad, my cousins, my uncles. Like they're in abundance in the 537 union. But for me, it's just like I just didn't want that type of lifestyle as a kid. I'm just like, yeah, it's nice working with you guys, constructing things on side gigs, but
yeah,
it's not the life for me. I gotta go make a name for myself, and it always like since I'm one of the youngest ones, I was always like the apprentice, and I was just like I didn't want to be the lackey forever. I wanted to, if I was going to ever work with them, I wanted to like step into their realm with something totally different.
for sure.
And when I got offered Crop One, offered the job at Crop One, I actually was in. I was about to apply for a master's to get my project management master's degree because a lot of my work that I had been doing had been in manufacturing, in many different places in engineering,
Yeah.
that weren't specific to construction, and I kind of wanted to get back to that since I just always had that in my family,
Yep.
and just had so much information on that. So it's kind of cool that we kind of got to that same. We came to something similar at Crop One, just because instead of going to get my master's, I was given a project management job.
Right.
So I was like, hey,
Right.
I got project management on my resume. What need is there for me to go get a master's to say I know how to do project management?
No,
So
yeah,
it
absolutely.
was a
And
great
I
opportunity.
think sort of on that line, I mean, it sounds like you kind of had something that you wanted to prove to yourself too, right? And I
Yeah,
think that
exactly,
that was important for me, and I'm sure it was for you as well.
exactly. Um, so my next question is: you've had a diverse career from owning AJ's Home Improvement to leading to Twin Lake Home Development and ultimately being in Home Buyers of America. What has been the most significant turning point in your career?
I'd say the most significant turning point in my career was coming to work with my family, my brother and my father. I mean, I feel like for a lot of people, the thought of working with your family can be kind of, scary. And, God forbid you have bad blood. It can really, ruin some relationships you have in your family. So for me, that was a big point because I was, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't something that had crossed my mind. I love the guys I get to work with. I love my brother. I love my father, but, um, I would never want to jeopardize the relationships that I have with them. So when I did start working with them, for me that was a big turning point because one, it was proving to myself that I could do it. I can own my own business with them, and we can buckle down and get this done. And a few years later now, hasn't been easy, but we've done it, and I think we've built a good brand. And yeah, the turning point is for me is just owning your own business and really just sort of learning the ins and outs of how to manage people, how to manage a business, um, how to treat the people that do work for you with respect. And yeah, for me that was probably my biggest turning point and just my biggest growth. I'd say as a business owner as well is just
Yeah,
diving.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
responsibility that comes with owning your own business and also, working with family. You brought up some good things there, like you don't want to ruin any relationships, but
yeah,
um, that feeling of owning your own and setting your own tone for your business is a great feeling at the end of the day. Working for someone is great because you all you have to do is come in, show up, do what they ask you to. But when you become an owner, you start to realize no one's asking you to do anything. If you don't do any, you have the ability to do nothing, and you also earn nothing. Like, so it's all about the work that you put in, and those tools of learning how to manage individuals. Um, did that did that come with some of your time at Crop One or previous projects that you were working on?
I mean, I think I would be. Yes, for sure. I would say, with some of my time at Crop One and everything else that I had done before that, has certainly helped. At Crop One, as you and I were both in positions where we had some control, right, and we're
Yeah,
meeting with a lot of different contractors and managing some of the farm crew, and that definitely helped, right? I mean, that all sort of was thrown into the pot, so to say, but nothing can sort of really prepare you for owning a business until you just take the leap and do it.
yeah,
There's always going to be things that come up that you just weren't ready for, and that's part of it. And it's fun and it's scary, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. It's been awesome, and if anything, it's just helped me become a better person, a better leader, and a better business owner. So, um,
yeah. I
yeah,
like
it's,
that.
yeah,
Taking that leap of faith is definitely one that, like, it's always tough to take because I remember when I started to get into owning my own businesses, own ventures. That was a scary thing for me as well. It's, you kind of don't know where to go, what direction to go. You need to go. You need to just keep moving and keep learning every day. Keep building on what you did yesterday, and so that you can ultimately get to a sustainable place. But one of the things you could do before you can get there is you kind of got to set a mission, set a tone, and a set of vision. So my next question is, what is the vision and mission that you have for Twin Lake Home Development and the home buyers of America? And how do
Sure.
these ventures impact and aim to impact the housing market?
So I guess just to clarify, Twin Lake Development, I ended up dissolving that company.
Mhm.
Um, that was the previous business, very similar structure and setup, but ultimately we rebranded, and now we are Home Buyers of America. Um, but and just to answer the question, so it was what is our vision?
Yeah, what is your vision?
The vision for us is to build a real estate empire. as
Nice.
uh, as much as yeah, take it for what it is, but I mean on a serious level, I mean our vision is to acquire as much real estate as possible. Ultimately, I think the end goal would be having as many rentals as possible, and just sort of creating that passive income throughout the years. But also, I mean, helping people is one of the cool parts about this business. I mean, you'd be shocked at some of the stories I hear on a daily basis. Some of the people that we've helped out of some really dark and bad situations. And like I said, I mean, it kind of comes back to real estate investors as a whole getting a bad rep for what we do. Because I think people see it and they're like, oh, they're stealing houses. You know, how could you buy a house for that little from someone? But at the end of the day, it's coming down to you don't know what this person is going through, and you don't know why they're selling their home. And a lot of times we've helped people out of some really dark spots, and people
Nice.
have shown us their gratitude, and they're very thankful a lot of the times for us to be able to help them out of situations that they do. And, you know, another thing to consider too is that a lot of times listing your house isn't always the best alternative for some people, you know, and that's sort of where we try to fill the gap and to play our role. So, I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately helping people out of situations and certain circumstances is our goal, right? But I think I'd be damned if I didn't say that we're in this to make money. You know, like any business, we want to be profitable. Um,
Yeah, profit is always a good portion of the mindset that goes behind starting businesses, but also being of service and fulfilling needs is, I think, the driver in a lot of businesses. If you don't have people that have needs that need to be filled, and you don't have solutions, well, there's no real business. And it sounds like you kind of have a good problem to have. There's people out there that need help with getting these pieces of real estate off their hands, and you guys know what to do with the real estate. You guys clearly can come in and purchase them, and do something with that. And at the end of the day, it helps you out. It helps those individuals out. It sounds like a pretty good model, pretty good mission.
yeah,
My
absolutely. Yeah, and I
next
do.
question. Oh, what's up?
I was just gonna say, just I don't want to make it sound like all the houses we're buying are from people from really bad situations. A lot of times too, it's we're buying nice houses from people who just don't want to list it with an agent, or just a tired landlord, someone who has a multifamily building and just doesn't want to deal with tenants anymore, and so they'll sell quickly to someone like us. So I
Got it.
just wanted to clarify that.
No problem. No problem. So my next question is, can you tell us about some of the current projects you're working on and what makes these projects unique or significant in today's market?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one thing we've got going on right now, we're actually building a two-family house in Providence. This will be our first residential new commercial build for the company. So we're excited about that. This has been a long journey for us. We actually bought this parcel of land back in 2017 or 2016. It's been quite a journey. There was a lot of legal I'll put it this way: it was pretty
Red
shark
tape.
infested waters when
Yeah.
it came to this piece of land. There was a lot of behind the scenes things going on, but ultimately it's all cleared, and we'll be breaking ground hopefully by the end of the summer. And then other than that, I mean, we do have quite a few, single family and a couple of multifamily projects just sort of scattered throughout Rhode Island and a little bit in Mass. And that's
nice.
Yeah, that's sort of what we have going on now. We have been trying to sort of set up some type of community or charity type giving. We do want to get involved in the community. We just haven't quite gotten that set up yet, but we would like to give back to some of the local areas around us, whether that's helping a homeowner out with some type of free gutters or a new roof or something like that, sort of once a month, or just sort of creating some type of fundraiser. So we're trying to get that situated and set up, but as sort of getting your feet up and running first as a business is most important before you can sort of get to those other fun things that come with it.
Yeah, you definitely can never pour from an empty cup, so you make sure that you can pour from abundance. And
For
with
sure.
all these great projects that are going on, I'm sure you guys will get there pretty soon. And it sounds like you guys are doing a great thing, to be honest. Right now in today's society, there's a lot of people that are struggling to have a place to stay, and creating homes is a way to create solutions for those individuals to get up out of the situations that they're in and get into a home, whether it's you creating them or you purchasing these real estate so somebody can move in. I think you guys are doing a great thing. My next question is, what trends are you seeing in the real estate market right now, and how are you adapting your strategies to stay ahead?
Sure. Yeah. So as far as trends go in our market, right, sort of looking at the New England region, home prices have not stopped going up. I mean, it's actually been pretty nuts. I mean, you go back to COVID to now, I mean, there's been a 15 to 20% increase since COVID, which is just nuts. I mean, I bought my first house in the COVID bubble, 2019, right before the pandemic really began. I ended up selling the same property 2 years later, and I had over 60,000 in equity in the property during those 2 years. So that was insane. I'm not sure we'll ever see a jump that dramatic ever again. But as far as trends go, I mean, home prices have continued to rise. Really shows no signs of slowing down. I know we're all hoping interest rates come down, which looks like the Fed met yesterday, and it sounds like they hinted at rates starting to come down, hopefully in the next quarter or so. But one thing that we have noticed is that because interest rates were so low during COVID, there's a lot of people hesitant to sell right now because not many people want to trade in their home and trade in their 2% interest rate to get into what is a new house, but now you're trading in your 2% interest rate for an 8% interest rate. So a lot of people are, standing down, so to say, and staying in their homes. And one thing we're seeing because of that is that a lot of homes are starting to deteriorate. You have a lot of people staying in their homes and they're just letting them fall apart because they don't want to move or sell because of that interest rate. So we're noticing more and more houses starting to come up because they're just falling apart, or more and more sellers who are just in these situations now because their house is falling apart around them because of the hesitation to move and because the interest rates are still so high. So I think as soon as interest rates start to come down a little bit, as soon as that first drop comes, I think a lot of distressed properties are going to come into the market. And I think it's going to be a good opportunity for a lot of investors and a lot of first-time home buyers as well. So we're trying our best to sort of keep enough cash on reserve for when that time does come.
I like that you bring that up, bring up distressed homes, because it leads into my next question on tenant fit ups.
Sure.
Because you're definitely going to be needing those with a distressed home and a home that needs repair. So tenant fit ups are a unique aspect of your business. Can you explain what a tenant fit up is and why they are important in real estate industry?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say first and foremost, I think the market always needs properties that have been renovated, that are move-in ready. You're always going to have first-time home buyers who don't want a big project, and sometimes you will. A lot of first-time home buyers will buy a fixer-upper, but it's always important to make sure that the inventory has some nicely renovated move-in properties. As far as a tenant fit-up goes, my understanding of that and my interpretation of a tenant fit up would be buying a distressed property, renovating it, relisting it. So, you're making sure the market has newly renovated properties. I mean, you can look at any market and you'll be able to handpick, a renovated rehab, flip, whatever it is, in any market that you go look for a house in right now. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Does that answer the question?
That was a good response. Tenant fit up and definitely the fix and flips. And what are some of the challenges you face when handling these type of projects, and how do you overcome them?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's always a can of worms when you get into a big rehab. We just did one recently. It was a coastal property in Rhode Island, and it had been sitting vacant for over 10 years, according to the town. And there was, 6 feet of water in the basement. Oil tank was floating around. So now you're dealing with a contamination issue. So quite a few people got involved, the DEM, town inspectors, everything. We had to test the water, make sure there was no oil in there. So things are always going to come up, right? And we always try to use best practices and make sure we're not only just putting these beautiful properties on the market, but we're doing it the right way and making sure that no one and nothing is getting contaminated or harmed during that process. So you kind of just have to be ready for whatever the property throws at you. Obviously, you do your due diligence before you buy any property, but there's always going to be things that come up, and you just have to be ready. You just have to be ready to handle whatever the house throws at you. And we always do our best to handle those situations with grace. There's been a lot of times where you might not have the friendliest neighbor, and things can go pretty south pretty quickly when that's the case. But we do our best to sort of mitigate that and stay friendly and
some of those upgrades are always tough. I always remember working on projects with my granddad, and sometimes we go in to cut open the walls because somebody's like toilet might be clogged up, and then you cut the wall. You see the mold. It's like you're dealing with another, and then you see the old plumbing.
Exactly.
It looks like it's tied up in a knot. It's just like, who did this job, man? But
exactly.
What you're there for is to provide us a solution for the problem that's at hand. And if there weren't problems, I guess there wouldn't be opportunities for you guys to find solutions.
For sure.
So my next question is, how do you approach client relations, especially when managing expectations and ensuring satisfactions in your real estate projects?
Yeah. I'd say for us, in terms of managing client relations, there's sort of two aspects to it. There's the seller, right? And then there's our contractors and so on and so forth. But for us, I think our relationships with everyone are important equally. But when it comes to the seller, I think that is probably the most important, the sort of developing that trust off the bat, because again, I'll say it again, that a lot of investors have a bad rep, and a lot of people are nervous and hesitant to work with people like us because they've heard stories. So, developing that trust off the bat, being trustworthy and honest, and just doing our best to help people in certain situations, whether they need help moving or they need to close quickly or they need cash in 10 days or whatever it is. So for us, it's going that extra mile to sort of alleviate a lot of sellers' worries that they might have. And obviously managing contractors, just staying on their good side, making sure we pay them on time. We've got a pretty good rapport with the people that we do work with on a daily basis. And then the last thing I'll say, you know, we do have a CRM that we use that helps us manage all of our client relations on a daily basis. So we're very active in terms of making sure that we're getting done what needs to be done. And, you know, just really being the people that mean what they say and say what they mean. So
Nice. Being a man of your word and, you know, utilizing some of the technology to stay on top of the game. You know, meeting deadlines is always a good thing for anyone in construction, because if you meet deadlines, people are lining up to work with you, especially if your prices are right and you got hardworking individuals. Um, but my next question is kind of on like your previous history in construction and
yeah,
how you brought that into play what you're doing now. As
sure.
a former owner of AJ Home Improvement and
Yeah.
also a project manager, what are some of the key lessons that you learned from that may have influenced your current business practices?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of skills that I took away from my time in college all the way up to me leaving Crop One. Um, you know, what for the first thing that comes to my mind is CAD, AutoCAD. I still use I still use AutoCAD like on a weekly basis, whether I'm drawing up a kitchen or drawing up floor plans for a house that doesn't have them, whatever it is. I still stay active in that, and you know, I'm sure you remember I couldn't even draw a
Yep.
basketball court when I
Yeah.
first, when I first
Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself.
but
It at least looked like a basketball court.
yeah, I fooled you guys, man. Um,
Nah, you didn't fool me. You didn't fool me or Carl.
yeah, no, I mean there's so many things I feel like I could go back and cherry pick on, like, oh, that helped me or this helped me, but it's really more for me like that whole journey and the skills that I picked up along the way. Uh, I still use to this day. And I know you brought up AJ's Home Improvement, and that was just a small home improvement company I had started myself when I was in college, high school, college kind of thing. And I was just sort of had business cards and that's it. So I would hand them out and whoever called me, called me. But yeah, I would just do small projects around people's houses. And I learned a lot of skills that I still use today around my house. So um, for me, that whole journey has definitely proven its worth to me. And like I said, my time at Crop One ultimately allowed me to get my CSL here in Mass, which has proven its worth 10 times over. So
Yeah, it's always good to build up your resume, but Alex is a little hard on himself about the AutoCAD story. I'm gonna let you guys know about the story about Alex, man. So Alex's resume came across the table, and me and Carl had already had like a previous conversation. One of the things he was honest about was like he did not know CAD. And but the thing that he was super passionate, he's like, "You guys give me a week, I'll definitely pick this up. Just give me a week." And just seeing like the passion that he had for it, the determination, the fact that he was honest. Most people are not going to come to an interview and let you know that, hey, this is a project management job, but I don't know how to do CAD. Like that was
yeah,
pretty brave. But you had the previous history of working in construction. And I think me and Carl coming from the hands-on background of, you know, him being an electrician and me coming from the background of like union pipe fitters in my family, you know, I'm always going to give somebody an opportunity because I understand, working in the field is to me is more valuable than you telling me you came from college, because a lot of things that happen in college, you don't get the work experience. You don't get to be in the field. So like I kind of value that more over CAD, and also just being someone that knew CAD. I learned CAD pretty fast. If you know how to use paint on your computer, you know how to use CAD. CAD is just like it just makes it a little easier to do paint.
yeah,
And it was amazing to me for me to see you go from 1 week not knowing how to do CAD, and then the next week just with a few little assists, because I remember during the interview I gave you a few assists. I was like, "Do this.
yeah,
This is a
yeah.
tip I learned." I was like, "Do this tip. You just make one side and then you mirror it. It's a
Mirror all
basketball
four.
court.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's
I
a
remember that.
it's symmetric. So don't waste the time. Don't waste the time trying to do it twice. Just
Yeah,
do it once and then mirror it. And since I knew that, like, as a project manager that was handling a lot of projects, I knew I needed someone that knew how to use CAD. So
Hmm.
one of my first tasks was with you, and I don't know if you noticed it. I would just hand you a lot of the CAD work that
I
needed to be
remember.
done, and I know practice makes perfect,
That's it.
and it's like it's not that it's a tough task. It's just something you can you're at work, you throw in your headphones, and if that's all you got to do, like you're gonna develop a skill that I need because if you're working on the CAD fast, I can work on the other sides of the project and not have to worry about the CAD since you're building your skill with the CAD. It's like I don't really much need the CAD to be perfect. I just needed to tell the picture, tell the story that I'm trying to deliver. So that was kind of how we came to meet each other. But his CAD skills ended up being pretty tight by my end of the time at Prop One. So shout out to you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think you bring up a good point though, just in terms of like just giving someone a shot, right? I feel like that's sort of less and less in today's workforce. Luckily, I had you and Carl who gave me a shot, right? But I think that more and more now it's sort of you got to go to college, you got to get a degree, you got to have this background just to have a chance to get in the door. And I think that sixth sense plays a lot. It plays a big role when hiring. They need to be you need to have that sixth sense, right? And I'm assuming you guys had that when I walked in that door of like, all right, like let's give this kid a shot. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's
So
just I feel like in today's workforce, that is becoming less and less.
yeah, people want ready-made
Yeah.
workers and to be already ready to do what they ask of. So, and that leads into my next question. Like, where do you get that drive from? Uh, because that's the one thing that you got is you got a motor.
Yeah.
You get things done, and
I don't know, man. I think it's just some people are just wired that way, or just motivated by what's next and by what you want. And I think my faith plays a big part in it too. I'm a religious man. I'm a God fearing guy. Um,
man,
but I mean, I think that just having some of the idols you have when you grow up, obviously my father and my brother, I've always seen them work their ass off. Um, Shout out to Tom Brady. Tom Brady was always one of my idols, man. So it's like always watching him talk, and it's certain things like that had always fired me up. And Tom Brady always used to say his favorite ring was the next one. And like, I don't know, I think things like that when you're a kid and whatnot do sort of help shape you and play a role in your molding. But I think ultimately I'd say my parents, they've always worked for everything that they had, and they taught me likewise. So if you want
yeah, I
something,
definitely
you
can
just gotta
relate
go
to
earn
that.
it. You just gotta go earn it.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. My granddad, my father, my mom, they always been go-getters, hard workers. They always believed in hard work. And then also shout out to my coach, Coach Wilson, who always said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yep.
When I played football, I didn't start until my junior year and really didn't get off the bench until then. And one of the things I learned on the bench is like you can't be sitting on the bench upset that someone else is in the spot that you want. Um, if you want that spot, you got to go out and work for it. So one of the things that Coach Wilson taught me was just like if I want it, I gotta show that I want it, and then also he gave me the opportunity once I showed that I wanted it to challenge individuals for their spot. So it ended up me challenging someone for the cornerback position. That's how I got on the field. And
Yeah.
that determination just came from like training and preparation. Also, shout out to my teammate D Walk, who I also ran track with. And he was the fastest guy in the nation. And for me, I was the fastest guy in my neighborhood. So like when I first met Darius, I'm like, yeah, nobody's as fast as me. You gotta feel yourself a little bit. And then I get on the track and race Darius. I got smoked. I got I got smoked, and I continued to keep getting smoked because I wouldn't stop challenging.
Yeah.
I had to get my win in. Like I
Gotta.
eventually I was gonna hope to get a win. Like, but I never got that. I
Yeah.
never got that, but that was what I learned from that was eventually after taking so many L's, I just threw in the towel and just like, yo, man, I'm gonna stop challenging you and I'm gonna start working with you. I started working out with him every single day. We used to go to the gym at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I honestly started to see why he was so good. This man was on top of his diet. This guy was when we get into the gym, it was dead silent. He was locked in. There was like no fun and games. And then once we left, it was cool. We was back to kicking it. And I just started to notice how his preparation got him ready for the moment. So I never leave out hard work because hard work beats talent when talent works hard.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I'll add too is like I'm one of three brothers, so my two older brothers growing up, we were always super competitive, and I think that naturally I just sort of developed that competitive mindset of I don't know who's next to me, but I want to outwork him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
it's
think some
always
people are
good.
just wired that way. Yeah.
It's always good to have that in your tool shed. So my next question is, what prompted your transition from home improvement to the broader real estate development, and how has your background in home improvement benefited your real estate projects?
Well, I think my passion has always been building things. You know what I mean? Even at home on the weekends, like I'll always have some type of weird project going on. Right now, I'm building a shed for my trash cans. So take that for what it is. But my passion's always just kind of been putting things together, building things, and I think for a lot of people who might share that passion, they just kind of have a broader passion for construction. And ever since I was a kid, I always said I wanted to build a skyscraper. You know what I mean? I've always wanted to build one of those 100-story buildings in New York City or whatever it may be. And I think that that was just a natural step in my life of, all right, well, I'm going to try to at least do some home improvement stuff because I like working with my hands. Ultimately, I learned a lot during that time, whether I was, I've had the privilege of working with a lot of skilled carpenters as well in the field. So I've learned a lot, and working with my hands is something that I just enjoy. But as far as that translating to my background now, I mean, I think it's just kind of important when you're managing any sort of renovation to have a broad understanding of how things are done, how things are supposed to be done. And that way, when you're on site, sort of seeing what's going on, you sort of have a sense for, okay, like, you know, he is doing it the right way, or, you know, you can point certain things out. And as soon as you sort of develop an eye for that, it becomes a very useful skill. You know, we have a saying that the devil is in the detail. So
Mhm.
making sure that all the little things are done how you like them, and that's important. So yeah, I think it was just sort of like a natural progression for me to go from sort of one industry to another.
Nice, nice. All right, so we talked about your businesses. Let's talk about you for a little bit. I got a couple last questions.
Sure.
What keeps you motivated in the work that you do, and what personal or professional goals are you looking to achieve in the near future?
I'd say one thing that definitely keeps me motivated is, you know, in real estate, you get the chance to put together deals, right? So putting together deals and negotiating deals is like a newfound passion of mine. I love deals, and I'm sure you can kind of relate in that sense. But like when you're sort of in the heat of things and sitting down with the seller and you're hashing everything out, and you finally get them to sign the contract and you've put together a deal, that is a euphoric feeling. Um, so the deals keep me motivated, and you know, for us personally, we've got a goal this year to flip 30 houses. Um, and that's just sort of been the goal this whole time. And we're all pretty locked in, buckled down, and
Nice.
just trying to get through it, man. So it's been fun. It's been challenging. And, you know, to not to sound cliche, but what keeps us motivated is that next house, you know? So
Yep. Nice, nice, nice. And I always like to wrap up my interviews with a seed of inspiration. Um, could you share some words of inspiration or advice to our listeners, especially for those who are already in your field or maybe considering a career much like yours in real estate development?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that the barrier to entry right now in real estate is pretty low across the board. You do have some states that are now requiring you to be licensed um, to wholesale something, which is dumb, but nonetheless, um, the barrier to entry is low. And if you're interested in getting started, I would recommend sort of just doing a little bit of research before you jump in, but just getting that first deal put together. You know what you've got to get through one, right? So reach out to the people who have some knowledge in that area. I'd be happy to sort of drop my information with you, Jared, and anyone can reach out if they're interested. But
Perfect.
get through that one. You know, put together your first deal. Whether you make money or lose money, hopefully you make money. But we certainly have lost money on some deals in our time, and that's part of the process. So I you know, it's as motivating as I can be. You know, you just got to get through one. You got to keep your head down, and you got to treat it like a business. I think that at the end of the day, there's a lot of people in the industry who, I can just do real estate on the side. Well, then you're only going to make side money. You know, if you treat it like a business, you'll make money like a business. And I think that that's an important mindset to keep in any industry. Don't get me wrong, but especially in real estate, because I think a lot of people will treat it just as a side hustle.
Nice, nice. Now you know a conversation wouldn't be a conversation with me if we didn't talk a little sports. I got a question for you. And I need an answer.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Uh-huh.
You know your Celtics won a championship this year. Shout out to the Celtics.
Great
Chips
team.
with the dip. I'm a firm believer in don't talk about it unless it got the ring.
Banner 18.
And you guys went and got that ring this year. But how do you feel? You feel like winning a ring when most of the star players on the other team, were injured? Do you feel like this ring deserves an asterisk?
No, dude, not at all. Not at all. I think that's crazy, man. That's crazy talk. The Celtics had the best record all year long. They were the best team in the postseason. You can't help when players go down. Stay healthy. Stay healthy.
I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. I just had to hear it. I just had to hear it, man.
No,
what do you think about the Celtics next year? The league's definitely taking like we've seen a lot of players move around. I think a lot of teams have gotten very talented. I think the NBA is definitely leveling out when it comes to skill. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of talent go many places. Like one of my dark horses, and you heard it here first. People are on the Orlando Magic.
Oh, Paolo.
I think Paolo is nice. He's
a dog.
And is nice. And so is Wagner plays pretty well. They just went and got KCP. They got a pretty deep team over there. And 2 years ago, they were spanking on your Celtics all season long. I know you don't remember, you don't forget that. They was giving y'all that spanky. So who do you think in the East is going to be a challenge for your Celtics this year?
Honestly, I think we'll run the East, no problem. I think if Giannis can stay healthy, obviously they're always a formidable challenge. So I'd say the Bucks, and then my sleeper is the Knicks. I like the Knicks this year. Jalen Brunson is an absolute dog, and they kept that pretty much that core group together. And I think Randall will be back too, right? He's still on the Knicks, so I think they'll be a good team. So I'd say the Knicks, the Bucks, and like you said, the Magic are probably the three biggest contenders for the Celtics. But I wouldn't worry about the Celtics in any of those series.
Yeah, a lot of you guys don't know I'm not a big fan of the Celtics. Unfortunately,
Oh, we know.
I'm from Massachusetts.
We know,
but the Celtics is legitimately the only team from Massachusetts that I don't care too much for.
Hate on greatness.
But one thing we can get along with is the Patriots. Patriots went out and drafted Drake May this year. They went back and got a veteran quarterback. What are what is your outlook on the Patriots this year? Like, what do you think that we're gonna
I
do?
hope we win 8 games, bro. Like I mean, if
I
we
like
can go like 8-9, 9-8, whatever it is, and just maybe sneak into the wild card, I'd be happy with that. I mean, we're not even sure if Drake May is going to start. You know, it's probably going to be Jacoby, and we'll see how far it gets us. But I like the direction they're heading. I like Mayo. So
I'm not too upset. I didn't like the Drake May draft. I much would have preferred Marvin Harrison just because.
Yeah.
No, I seen him beat up all my dogs, man. I seen him, like, if he didn't get injured, I'm convinced they would have smoked us.
Yeah.
But shout out to them losing because my dogs went and got that chip. So I ain't mad. I'm not mad at an injury sometimes. As long as it's against my team.
Uh-huh.
As long as it's against my team. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the Patriots. I think one of the things people forget is that the Patriots hung their hat on defense a lot of times. Yeah, we had Tom Brady, but a lot of those wins that we got with Tom Brady is because we had a solid defense. I'm looking forward to seeing Gonzalez come back out torch. He's looking like the next coming of Ty Law, shut down corner. And we got a lot of great defenders on the Patriots. Peppers has come back in the form. We got Duggar. We got a lot of talent. Jackson, it was Jackson, right?
Judon.
Jackson. No, Judon. And I thought don't we got JC Jackson?
I think we still have JC Jackson. I think we traded for him.
He'll be a nice nickel. He'll be a nice nickel cornerback. I just think that we got what it takes on defense to shut down a lot of these passing teams. So I like what we got going. I'm not delusional. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna win like 10, 11 games. Like, nah, man, we got a young quarterback and we don't have that big talent at quarterback. But I like what we've been doing. I think that the Patriots are like a year or two away from being back in the Super Bowl picture. But definitely, I wouldn't mind seeing that defense shut down and upset in a couple games.
For sure. But, I do have one question for you before we go.
What's going on?
In simple terms, will Bronny James be on the Lakers roster this year?
Yeah, he'll be on the bench.
He's not going to go to the G League?
He's going to be on the bench.
You don't think they'll send him to the G League?
If he wants to go to the G League, he's going to go to the G League.
Do you think he deserves a spot on the bench?
Yeah. Does Giannis's brother have a spot on the bench?
Yeah, he does. And
he's garbage.
Is terrible, bro.
He's horrible, but he got a spot on the bench.
But how do you feel about Bronny getting drafted over the guy who started over him, who averaged like 16 points a game? He didn't get drafted. He didn't even get drafted.
So I'll explain it because that's the reason why I brought up Giannis. Nepotism is the way of the world, man. I'm not here to change the way that the world moves. Nepotism is LeBron James took a pay cut. Part of that pay cut probably was so that his son could get on the team. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Like, we've seen this time and time again. Goran Dragic, his brother, made it to the league because of him. Alonzo Ball's brother Jello, he made it. He got some workouts because of being a part of that family. So I understand nepotism, and I ain't mad at it. Do I think he should play for the Lakers? No, because I want my Lakers to win a championship, and right now he's not ready. He's like 19. Like, he's not ready to play with these grown men. Like, he does have a grown man body, but like, him being on the bench doesn't hurt me. As long as he's at the end of the bench and not getting in the game unless we have a 20-point blowout in the fourth quarter. So, like, shout out to him for making the league, but I don't want him playing, if I'm being honest. I'm looking for the chips with the dip. I need my Lakers to get a championship. If we can pack up D'Lo, get him up out of here, and get us another point guard, another scoring guard, yes, let's do it. D'Lo, send D'Lo away. Send him away because LeBron's not getting any younger. Neither is AD, and I think that we're about a piece or two away from actually be in the conversation. A lot of these young teams are definitely getting better. We got Ant-Man. If you're watching the Olympics, Ant-Man looks fantastic. We got the Dallas Mavericks who just who just won the championship, who I'm not really a big fan of because they play no defense, but they definitely got a talented team. OKC is very talented. So like there's a lot of talent out there, and I don't want LeBron James' son on the court to get smoked by some of these talented players. Like
For sure.
he's just not ready for the league right now, but he's ready for the bench. So he can warm it up. He can do some cheers. Hopefully he has some creative handshakes with Pops and the rest of the players on the Lakers team to get them inspired for the game. But that's about all I want to see from him this year. Yeah. I know other people are looking forward to seeing LeBron James and his son on the court, but hopefully that inspires LeBron James to have more blowouts so his son can get some burn.
Maybe.
So as long as it works out for my Lakers to get the win, I'm with it. I'm with it. Having your son at the game, what's more inspiring than that?
I know, that's really cool. I'm not hating on that. That's really
working
cool.
out. Like you look to the bench and y'all, every single time you make a dunk or a game time shot, you get to go run, play with, do a celebration with your son. If that can inspire LeBron James to give me 30 points a game, whatever it takes, we need it. We need it now more than ever.
Funny stuff.
But yeah, man, it's been great talking with you, man. I appreciate you coming through to my podcast, Cultivating Conversations. You got any places that people can come connect with you? Please drop the location. Where can they
Yeah, I'd say the best way to reach out if you're interested is just going to our website, www.hboa.com. You can find a bunch of contact links there for anyone who is interested. But thank you so much for having me on, man. It was awesome to catch up and nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, bro. Well, you stay good. You stay cool. I know you're outside. It looks pretty hot.
It's hot. It's hot.
It looks really hot.
But
it's been well, man. You have a good day. And this
you too, Jared. Take it easy, man. Thank you, brother.